Hello, and welcome back to another brand new classic Doctor Who review, voted for by you. And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck just fell. Uh, I don't know. But yes, welcome back to another brand new classic Doctor Who episode, voted for by you. And this one was a little bit of a doozy. As you can already tell by the title, I am, of course, going to be reviewing The War Machines. And that's because this is the one I actually picked. You see, when I did my poll, there was kind of two winners. It was tied between the War Machines and Spearhead from Space. So I needed a solution because I didn't actually have a contingency plan for if it was a tie because only five people voted on the last poll. This got two votes. This got two votes, and Survival got one vote. So 40% of the vote went to both of these. So I then came up with the idea of, well, I'll just pick the one that I really wanted to review, which was The War Machines, because this was the very first Bill Hartnell story I ever watched. And so that's why I'm reviewing this one now, and in 2 weeks' time, there won't be a poll because I will be reviewing Spearhead from Space. So, yeah. So let's get into The War Machines. Like I said, this was the very first Doctor story that I had ever seen. And I remember because my mother, she got, it was either two or three classic Doctor Who stories. It was this one, Four to Doomsday, and something else that I can't remember. I can't remember where she got it. I think it might have been Extravision or something like that because I was familiar with classic Doctor Who. Having seen some of the Tom Baker stories, but I hadn't seen any of the other Doctors outside of a few Tom Baker stories as well as the TV movie. And so I sat down and I watched this, and I can tell you now, I loved it then, and I love it now. It's a brilliant story. It's a fantastic story, and it's actually the third last William Hartnell story because there's another story, and then we get to his departure in the 10th planet. And it's also a companion departure and new companion introduction where we say goodbye to Dodo Chaplin, and we say hello to Ben and Polly. Um, so yeah, this is actually where I have my love for the first Doctor. Seeing this version of him instead of an unearthly child. And I do love the first Doctor. He was as we know, he is the first. He is the one who started it all, but he is kind of underrated. A lot of Doctor Who fans don't watch classic Doctor Who, or just don't have the means to watch classic Doctor Who. Because they'd have to actually. It's not available on streaming for anyone outside of the UK. There is BritBox, but I think you have to pay for that. And so your only option is to really get the DVDs or the box sets when they release, if they actually release over outside of Europe. So yeah, the story basically is the Doctor and Dodo land in 1966 London, and the Doctor gets this funny feeling, a feeling that he felt the first time he met the Daleks, and there is a tower that the post office tower has been finally finished, and so they go and investigate, and that is where they meet this scientist who's created this really impressive computer AI known as Wotan, which stands for the Will Operating Thought Analog. Um, and it can come up with anything. The doctor asks it a math question and it gets it right. And then Dodo asks it to one thing that she knows that it shouldn't, and that is, what does TARDIS stand for? And it gets it right, time, relative, dimensions, and space. And so, they go. Something happens with Dodo for a split second. Um, but yeah, it turns out that, this AI, Wotan, goes a bit rogue and wants to wipe out humanity. So it's something that we are familiar with, rogue AI and stuff. But it's done really, really well. Like I said, I do love this story. We also then get introduced to Ben and Polly. Well, we get introduced to Polly first because she works for the scientist who made Wotan, and so they go to this nightclub called Inferno, and that's where we meet Ben, who is a sailor who is now stationed 6 months on land. And he's not too happy about that. He prefers to be out at the sea. And so then Dodo goes off because she's being mind controlled, because that's what Wotan's doing. He's able to mind control these people to then create these war machines, because he plans to attack London and to start to wipe out humanity. Um, and so the Doctor, this is a few episodes later, figures out that Dodo has been mind controlled, snaps her out of it. This is episode 2, and that's it. She's gone after end of episode 2. That is her departure. And her what happens to Dodo after in Doctor Who is only been looked at in expanded media. We don't have a definite of what happened. There is one version of it that has that she was murdered. She went through hell after actually leaving the Doctor. She was in psychiatric, which back in the 60s meant electroshock therapy, which isn't a good thing. She eventually escaped, married, was got with someone, was pregnant, and then she was murdered. And then there's another version of it where she actually still is alive and able to go, uh, alive up to a certain point. But that's all we really know. And again, that's expanded media. There's not really much left to go on. So, um, my favorite scene obviously comes from the end of episode 3, where the war machine is on its war path a little too early. It's making mincemeat of the military, and the Doctor just stands his ground, and just that scene is amazing. Like, that is one of the scenes that captivated me as a teenager. I can't really say kid, because remembering now, this was around 2011 when I discovered this, because this isn't my original copy of the War Machines. The copy that I had back then was given to a friend of my mother, because her daughter, who was around the same age as me, was interested in Doctor Who. And we never got it back. We never got them back, which was unfortunate. And then my mother stopped being friends with her. And that was that. So yeah, like I said, I absolutely love and adore the story. Even when I first watched it, I even went and watched the extras, which is not something that I tend to do all that often. Where I look at some extras that are on discs, and that's how I know the scene where the Doctor is in a taxi, um, that isn't an actor. That isn't. That's someone that they had to get pace. And actually, when we see the Doctor hand in money, that's Bill Hartnell doing that. To pay the taxi driver for their time, for doing that. And that's a fact that's always like stuck with me for this story. And I love how in the beginning of the episode, after the TARDIS lands, the Doctor puts an out of order sign on the TARDIS. Because again, this is the 60s, where police phone boxes are still rather frequent occurrence. And we see a police officer stroll down, and he goes as if he was to go step into the phone box, but once he sees the out of order sign, he walks off. So I thought that was very, very, very funny. And yeah, I absolutely love the War Machines. It's definitely up there in as one of my favorite classic Doctor Who stories. I love the design of the War Machines. I love Wotan. One of my favorite things was at the end of episode 1, where he goes, Doctor Who is required. I love that. That's another scene that stuck well with me. Um, all or 10 years later. So yeah, that is my review for the War Machines. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. And like I said, there will be no poll this time, because the next classic Doctor Who episode I'll be reviewing is Spearhead from Space, where I've only ever seen the first episode of this. So, yes, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And again, let me know what you thought of the War Machines in the comments down below. And I shall see you on Monday. Actually, I have my list right here. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Now this is, yeah. So I'll see you Monday, uh, for my Deadpool and Wolverine review, I believe. Yes. The 29th. So for my because I went to see it yesterday as time. Well, I'm filming this on Tuesday, so before I go to see it. But I'll have already seen it by the time this goes up. So my Cinevlog will be out then for that one on Monday. So I'll see you all next time.